Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, to all my writers and weirdos. I am KibbyRose. It is Friday, April 25th. It is, Forward Friday or Find Me Friday or something like that. I forget what it is in the Authortube world. You guys got a name for every day. I'm KibbyRose. I'm Authortubes lesbian psychic stoner, and I am here to entertain you so we can get some work done and you can get lost in my rants for a little while. How we do things around here is already broken down at the beginning of our sprint. I'm exhausted. It has been a Murphy's Law kind of week for me. I don't know what's going on, but my temper has been all over the place, and it has been just... yeah, anything that can go wrong will go wrong at the most inopportune time. So we'll see how this stream goes. My streams have been going great. It seems to be whenever I get off of any sort of, it's work related. To frankly, straight up, it's all work related. From finding out that half of the videos or half the pictures that I named like a couple days ago, never saved, to finding out that half the episode of episode 10 didn't even record right. Some of the things I'm glad I'm catching now before we do the reaction part of the videos with Cora. However, at the same time, and then on that end, we have Cora, who has, if you guys are healers of any kind, please send some energy and healing energy to Cora. I'm not going to go into it, but just the things have been delayed because she's been delayed and not in a way that she wants to be delayed. And so my heart goes out to her. I have no problem being flexible for her. It's just, it's been one of those weeks, guys. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And on yesterday, I had to go out to pick up my medication for my fibromyalgia. And I was talking to the pharmacist because ordering my prescription was a lot more difficult than it should have been, because the automated system, for some reason, decided that it wasn't going to understand touch tones that day. I'm not the only one who encountered it. Evidently, the poor pharmacist on the other end, I wasn't the only one she encountered who was frustrated with it. Luckily, they've gotten it fixed since then, but on Wednesday, getting your prescriptions done by the little automated system was not conducive to your mental health. Needless to say, it was easy on Thursday, but just after talking with people on Thursday, I found out I'm not the only one. And I was grateful that on Wednesday, I didn't have to leave my house, because right now I'm able to work from home, and I'm super grateful for days like that, because hearing from other people, it was the same way for a lot of others, and they all had to work and they all have kids. And so if you're having a rough time, if you've had a rough week, if things have just not been going your way, you are not alone. We're all here for you. Vent away in the comments. We love to hear it. I'm here to support you. On that note, that's why we're doing these sprints, because hopefully, breaking it into little 20-minute sessions, it will allow us to actually get a little bit more work done, right? Right. So our first sprint is 10 minutes, but we do have the 20-minute afterwards. I do have quite a few things I want to get off my chest, because some new revelations have happened in the Blake Lively situation, and in the Meghan Markle situation, and in the Karen Read situation. And I need to catch up on the Kohlberger. I haven't had time to catch up on Kohlberger yet. I will. I've got to get there. But and not only that, but I do have some surprises, because, Disney, your emails. boy, did they shock me. So we're going to jump into our little 10-minute sprint. What I'm going to be working on is literally naming photos. I'm on episode 10. So we're just, like I said, you guys, I'm trucking right along with this. I'm on episode 10 of naming, episode 5 of creating the videos, and episode 1 of the voiceovers, and episode 0.5 of the reaction videos. So we have a lot of videos in the works, guys. It's trekking right along, and I'm super stoked about it. So, and this is also why I wanted to do this, and I didn't plan on launching any of this until like June. We can push it back even further if Cora and I have to, until we have, basically I want to have 50 videos set before we launch the channel. And this is why, because if anything happens and we get delayed on filming the next video, I don't want the people that are eager for a new video, for the next video, to be delayed on it. So just a little trick that people that have launched YouTube channels have taught me. When they say it's not but this channel is a little bit different because it's a live. I've always done lives on here. I will continue doing lives on here. This is kind of like my live channel. The channel that I launched with Cora is going to be a combined channel, and that's just going to be strictly a video channel. So just in case anybody's worrying, no, I am not going to discontinue my lives. The only time I would discontinue my lives is if the other channel doesn't take off and I actually am able to find a real job around here. So those two things will happen. I'm still doing my psychic work, so I'm trying to bring in, I'm bringing in a little bit what I can. So if there are anybody out there that needs a reading or a card reading or anything else, information is in my bio. I am still doing that. I will do that for the rest of my life. That is naturally who I am. Can you make a living off of being a psychic? No, not really. If I had known and my life hadn't gone the way it had gone, I probably would have gone into counseling in my 20s in college. But that's just not the course my life took. So a lot of decisions in my life were mine, but not necessarily mine. Anyway, all that's all coming in the P2P, the psycho to psychic series, which is still in the works. Now that guest family and everybody is gone, I am able to reset up the vlogging room. So I'm going to be recording that soon too. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I'm definitely not sitting down on the couch and doing nothing. And the weather has been gorgeous here. It has absolutely been gorgeous weather. So I have been able to get out, and instead of walking on the treadmill, I have been able to get out and walk outside. And I plan on continuing to do that because, yes, I love being out in nature. It's where I choose to be. If I could basically take my whole setup and just drop it outside, I totally would. I love the 100-degree weather. I'm a California baby. I love the heat. I love the warmth. I love the sun. I love the outside. I really do. It's beautiful here in Washington, but half of the year, outside is very cold. So anyway, on another note, I want to say lucky to all my Miami friends who get to go to Girls in Wonderland in June. I saw one of my favorite YouTubers or TikTokers post about it, and I'm so jealous. I'm like, if I had the money. But anyway, on that note, we're going to jump into a little 10-minute sprint. If I can find my little window here. There we go. So we're going to jump into a 10-minute sprint. And when we get back, I'm going to rant a little bit about the current events that are going on. And if any of you have your progress after this sprint and want to drop it in the comments or whatever else, even in future for any of the people, the replay crew, which I love you guys, replay crew, drop your progress as the sprints are going. I do check the comments, and I will come in and I will give you praise as you go, even if you're part of the rewatch crew. So on that note, 10 minutes on the clock, and I will see you guys in 10 minutes. In 3, 2, 1. All right, so that is the end of that sprint. I'm going to add this to the stage just to prep it for when we go to our next one. And I have a little surprise. So just so you know, just as, so if you know, if you don't know, if you follow me, you know, if you are new here, you don't know. Along with WitchCasket subscription box, I decided to do Just Fab monthly subscription in order to rebuild my wardrobe. Simply because I rebuilt my wardrobe from, sorry, how do I explain this? In 2022, 21, I lost everything, escaping a really bad relationship and moving from Tennessee to Virginia with 2 suitcases and a backpack. Since then, I kind of put more of my big bucks towards rebuilding furniture, you know, the big stuff. So I kind of did the whole Shein Temu route when it came to my clothes. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to replace a lot of the stuff that, granted, don't get me wrong, because of the way I take care of my clothes and everything, a lot of the Shein stuff has lasted. All the beanies you see me wear, I've had this for like 6 years. They're all from Shein. This was also before they became very controversial. And since then, I have started replacing with better quality. In that department, my Just Fab order came, and why do you say, you're probably wondering, and I'm just going to say it this way. You're probably wondering if you ordered Shimu or Timu and Shein, Just Fab is not that far up in scale. Actually, it is. I used Shoe Dazzle and everything else way back in the day, and their quality, oh my gosh, I got not only the cutest shoes at the best prices, but they were just as good quality as if I bought them at Nordstrom's. And trust me, guys, I had Nordstrom shoes too, okay? I also had Coach and Kate Spade purses. A lot of the purses that I got from Just Fab and Shoe Dazzle were the same quality. So there's not, and then the clothing wise, the shirts, the dresses, the tank tops, same quality as Target. I chose to put my money, like I do a lot of research before I spend my money, because for those who know me, I may not look it, but I am actually very frugal. I am very tight pinched with my money. My total cost of living right now, including all my meds, is about a little bit less than $1,000 a month. I've been able to put a little bit away every month, but that includes all of my StreamYard, all of my subscriptions, everything. So yeah, I really do my research before I decide to go shopping. I wish Earthbound had a monthly subscription thing. Oh my gosh, I wish Earthbound had a monthly subscription thing, because I would jump on that in so fast. They don't. So the first half of my Just Fab order came. The next half is coming on Monday, so I figured I'd split it into 2 and make it more fun. So I'm going to do the reveal, and some of you might laugh because I just got a black version of a pair I already have, and I'm stoked. So, ready? Ta-da! I got my black cowboy boots back. I am super stoked. So you will see, if you're following me on my TikTok, I just recently posted a picture or a TikTok of my dress and my cowboy boots that actually match this. And I finally got my black cowboy boots back. So stay tuned, because you'll be seeing TikToks of my black cowboy boots next. And those dresses, the other 2 dresses, I have them lined up. I don't get out of the house much. No need to. That's usually when I dress up, is when I go out of the house. So for right now, this is what I wear for the most part, because I'm in the basement. It's cold. I like being warm, but it's 80 degrees outside if I choose to go outside. So that's why I don't post that much in like really nice clothes, is because I don't have a girlfriend. There's not very many places for me to go right now, and there's not many reasons for me to dress up. So when I get a chance to be able to go out and dress up again in my nice dresses, I will be posting again. Cora came in. Okay, so first of all, I saw this. Okay, first of all, my super long eyelashes. Again, love having long eyelashes until they start fighting with each other. Okay, so I saw this and dude, I busted up laughing. Hello, I am in and out, in and out as it is dinner time and then bedtime, and I cannot wait. I know you cannot wait. Murphy's Law has been throwing a wrench in poor Cora's day too. So I know I've seen you wearing clothes. I've sent you to. Yes, I have. That's right. You did send me clothes. You were one of the people that sent me clothes. You and Bonnie. That's right. Oh my gosh, that was a while ago. And oh, thank you. Yes. So, and those were only $20, in case you were wondering. And actually, I think they were $14.95 because they were. I'm reaching for them like they're there. They're over here. They were $14.95 because Just Fab is smart. And the tariff, they are getting hit by tariffs. Everybody is. Thank God they're not as high as Canada. Poor Maya Maples just paid $700 tariffs on her most recent order for her channel. I was like, ugh. But Just Fab dropped a lot of their prices right now because they basically said, look, we're having an $8 sale to compensate because, you know, it's not your fault. It's not our fault that basically these tariffs have been put in place. So if you are a Just Fab member right now, it's probably a really good time to go shopping because they have some really good stuff on sale and it's going fast. That's another thing I really appreciate is the stock goes fast. It's not, I get this, like, I can tell that hasn't been sitting around in a warehouse for the last like 6 months. You know, it's very clear to me just by the smell of it, the feel of it, everything else, that's not a box that's been sitting in a warehouse for a couple of years. It seems like they have more of a rotation in their products. That was another problem I had with Shein, is it definitely seemed like there were some warehouses where products maybe just sat in places. I'm starting to find that out with Amazon too. I don't know. There's some shipping situations that I have questions about. But I'm just grateful that I didn't pay a $200 or $700 on that. Like, ouch. Poor Maya Maples. And I thought about this actually day before yesterday or this morning. I was thinking to myself, like, a lot of these people don't realize that these tariffs actually equate to customs in the short and like on the domestic level. And so a lot of these YouTubers that usually make purchases out of country in order to promote their, you know, channels and everything else, I'm wondering how much this is going to affect those channels. Like if you've based your channel off of purchasing things from other places in order to review them on your channel, how big of a hit are you taking right now in tariffs and customs and everything else? Because not only that, but the Canadian dollar has dropped according to the US, the UK dollar has dropped, and the Australian dollar has dropped. My WitchCasket subscription box dropped in price. And it's simply because the American dollar gained more momentum. And it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you understood civics and econ in high school, you're not maybe stressing as much for the long term of things as maybe people who didn't necessarily pay attention to civics and econ in high school or college. But this is where in the short term, we're going to get hit. I said, in the short term, it's going to be difficult. It's going to get harder before it gets better. You might have to pull back on your spending for a minute. You might have to pull back on channel creation if it relies on outside sources for now. Within the next 5 years, guys, we're going to have like the amount of factory production I see kicking up in like the next 5 years. Like my angels keep telling me that like in the next 5 years, I'll be able to work a part-time remote job where it's just like doing invoicing or just doing data. And they need as many people as they can because they just have too much information coming in and out and they need somebody to input it. And it's going to be like they're reaching out to people like me who work from home and do YouTube like, hey, do you need a part-time job doing data entry? Because you can help us out here. So don't be surprised if you start like, don't lose hope or faith right now. Every time I check in, and guys, I'm with a lot of us where I'm like, angels, are you guys sure? Like, are we sure? Like, it's coming down to like, I am really trusting you guys on like my, like I keep telling my angels, like you guys, I'm putting a lot of trust in you guys. I'm putting a lot of faith and a lot of trust in what you guys are telling me because wow, things don't seem to be going well right now. And even with Murphy's Law the last couple of days, I was just like, but it is what it is. And they keep showing me that this is how they keep explaining it to me. America was pretty much a runaway freight train, out of control, headed for a wall. Either way, we were going to hit the wall. At what speed we were going to hit, that was yet to be determined. At the beginning of the year, we were full throttle, full headed, going to smash into that wall. They were still trying to, they were like, the brakes have been applied slightly, but we're still going to hit the wall. The angels are now telling me, like, we actually have changed. We've altered course so much and put on the brakes so much that we actually might just come nose to nose with the wall now. We might not smack into it. And when I keep asking what this wall is, World War III. And that's when I was just like, oh, now I understand what you guys mean by we were headed for a brick wall at breakneck speed. Like, that makes it. And the thing is, guys, is no, sometimes I don't get clarification as to what they mean by you're headed for a brick wall. And it's not until I'm like, wait, what is the brick wall symbolizing, by the way? Oh, World War III. So they're actually showing that we might, like, we're just going to come nose to nose with it. Zelensky really needs to, there's a couple of factors that are still yet to be determined, but we're definitely, that nuclear clock is definitely, the hand is less close to zero than it was going to be before. So again, 70-30, I'm still watching everything to get gauged and everything else. The only other than politics, the one other thing that I wanted to bring up before we go into our next 20 minutes, even though I didn't touch on any of the rants that I said I was going to touch on, but I swear I will on the next round, is earthquake or volcanoes, earthquakes, California. Basically, they're if you've been watching a lot, if you haven't, I don't know why I say it that way. I know you all haven't. The Geological Survey site has basically been instructing people to keep an eye on the volcanoes in California. There's volcanoes in California. Yes, there's volcanoes in California. There's actually quite a few, and they actually run right along the ridge that my angels kept showing me that is where it's going to have a break off. Do I think it's very interesting? Yes. Does it make my stomach turn? Absolutely. There's something off about this where they were like, oh yeah, we need to keep an eye on all the volcanoes that just happen to be, because the reason I bring it up is they've determined that all their magma chambers are filling. Which one was it? Mount St. Helen has had over 350 earthquakes in the last month, which is quite more seismically active than it's used to. The Yellowstone geysers, their heat index has increased substantially to the point where they've actually had to pull people away from walking close to the geysers because even the spray is causing third-degree burns. There is something going on regarding the magma chambers under California. When I went to go basically argue my angels by bringing up, look, everybody says things are fine. I come across a Geological Survey report regarding the volcano in Alaska and how they're expecting, how they are very worried because the volcano in Alaska is a super volcano. And if it erupts, the amount of water that it will melt within its vicinity could actually raise sea levels. Did my angels warn me that the California coastline was going to disappear into water? Yes. Did they exactly indicate how it was going to disappear into water? No. They just kind of showed me California sliding into the water. Could this visual have also been maybe the water rising up California? Yes, very much so, now that I reassess it. But is that something that I considered? No, because that's not something that would just happen on the California coastline. So why would they happen to show me just, that's, again, guys, this is why I'm 70-30. I pick this stuff apart. I'm not exactly one that they show me the visions and I'm like, oh, the visions, I believe everything you're showing me. I'm like, no. Okay. There's the vision. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And sometimes it drives my angels crazy because frankly, they're like, can't you just trust us? And I'm like, well, I do trust you. However, the more facts I have to base your information on in reality, the better off I'm going to be in believing you. Yeah, that's just kind of the way it works. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on volcanoes in Alaska and California. Considering if you've done your research and you've done your history and you know what the Mayans have stated, what Nostradamus has warned, what even the Sumerians warned, even with what is going on the California coastline with a lot of the sea life happening to not be doing so well. There's something going on in the Pacific Ocean that we are not aware of that is going to affect us globally. And we'll just have to see what happens. And my angels keep warning that the volcanoes are a hint at it. Again, they don't, and this is what frustrates me the most, is all they show me is really just water taking over the coastline of California, that nothing falls apart, nothing explodes, nothing's on fire. It's just, so we'll have to see what happens. But on that rant, on that crazy conspiracy rant, we're going to jump into another 20-minute sprint. I need more coffee. So I will be disappearing for a second, but I will be back when the timer is up or even before so. But we've got 20 minutes on the clock. And when we come back, I will be probably ranting about Hollywood next. So less conspiracy theories. Okay. Less conspiracy. We'll come back to reality and it'll be more about Hollywood. Reality, Hollywood. What am I saying? Anyway, 3, 2, 1. And don't forget. right, well, that is the end of that sprint. I was just crossing off my list of how much I got done here. In this, I haven't given you guys. I pushed the unmute button. I guess I just wasn't on that screen. So that's the end of that sprint. I was able to get done total in this last hour, 77 photos named. Plus or minus a few. Actually, we're going to say 70 because I think there's like 7 at the bottom here, 6 at the bottom. So 71 photos named. Still have quite a few to go. But that's okay. Just trucking right along with my project. Yeah, so going into my little rant spiels, my little spiel rants. Before I do that, how is everybody doing? I don't even know if Cora has been able to get any work done. Probably not, knowing the way the craze that has been going on in that house. Normally I get to talk to her for at least like an hour. Poor girl hasn't even had like 10 minutes to talk to me. So I'm not complaining. I know how busy she is. I wonder if she misses adult time. That's my only thing. So on that note, we're going to hop into adult time because I have quite a few things that have popped up on my feed. And for those of you who are interested, I'm going to first fix my pillow here. I've modified a pillow to make myself more comfy-wumpy at my desk, and bear with me. So there's a couple of things that have come across my feed in regards to Katy Perry, first of all. Like I said before, what has been going on currently in Hollywood and social media, along with the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni case, my repeated aesthetic of the old PR tactics aren't going to work anymore. It applies significantly to this situation. They're very much correct that in the olden days, even 20 years ago, which makes me feel old, but still, it was any news is good news. However, that was before. That's also when we had to believe and trust what our parents gave us answers to, because we couldn't go up on Google and research it for ourselves. We are now dealing with a generation where, yes, they'll hear what you have to say, but they're not going to necessarily believe it. That is exactly what they're doing with this whole situation and picking it apart. Also, I have some very serious questions about it, because if you follow me on any of my socials, you would have seen the picture that I posted where it is very clear that the top half of a certain picture is actually them, but the bottom half is completely CGI'd. And not only that, but as somebody who works in the industry and works with green screens and works with backgrounds and knows what it is to cut a background and have to detail all that up close and personal, there's the very clear indications that that is completely photoshopped. Now, am I saying the whole trip was photoshopped? I don't know. I didn't pay that much close attention to it. Honestly, it didn't really come across my radar until everybody started talking about it and was just like, oh my gosh, unfortunately, you guys, it came across my radar the same way that Rachel Zegler came across my radar. Her mouth, the words that were spoken out of her mouth is what caught my attention. And then I started looking into the situation. And the more I look into it, the more I'm just like, when is LA and Hollywood good? Like, no, like, very conspiracy. This is going to be a very, very big conspiracy. So please forgive me. God tried to give you a wake-up call by burning Hollywood down, and y'all are still pulling the same tactics. Did you know that repeating the same behavior over and over again and expecting a different result is literally the definition of insanity? And here we have literally the entire Bezos rocket BS repeating exactly old PR moves. Like, who cares about your set list? If this whole experience was such a big deal, then to pay attention to what is actually going on outside the window. And I do give them credit. I have to say, they have been saying that Katy Perry spent more time looking into the camera than she did out the window. I do have to argue with that, because if you do go back and notice that it looks like each and every one of them had to have their fair share amount of time in front of the camera. If you go back and look, there's actually not a single time when the camera pans and all of them are enjoying the actual experience. Like, if that, like, personally, the more I watch this, it's like the perfect representation of exactly how our culture is today. Nobody gives a damn about experiencing the actual experience. They just want to get the picture and PR from it. And it's sad. If you wonder why I don't post a lot of pictures of things that I'm doing outside of this, that's because I'm enjoying my time doing it. I'm not busy with I don't let my lens camera live my life for me like a lot of other people do. So that's just my pitch on it. Here's, I got a lidocaine patch. Nice. Placed it on my back, and yay. And around 204 words. Very, yay, you have been able to get some words done. I am so proud of you, Cora. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. And gotta love, those lidocaine patches can definitely be a lifesaver. Katy Perry wants to release a song and music. Oh no, you should see her entire, she's actually having to cancel. Oh God. Okay. So now that you brought this up, I'm going to go into the whole spiel. Katy Perry, not only set her entire concerts, clothing, costumes, background, all of it is space themed. All of it is space themed. We're going back to E.T. Perry when she worked with the worst human being on this planet. Okay. Not only that, but she's had to cancel concerts because the venues aren't even built yet. Fire Festival 3.0. I mean, we're already dealing with Fire Festival 2.0 being a disaster, if you guys haven't been paying attention to that. But now Katy Perry's stuff is, and not only that, but Katy Perry's, if you go look, her shows are supposed to be in May. There's open seating for all of her shows in every city. It's a J-Lo. It's a Jennifer Lopez. But this time, actually, and I actually am kind of like, this is a gut punch because some of her tickets are $70. They're reasonably priced. She's not doing the $400 or $500 whatever. And, first of all, she's not charging out the wazoo like Jennifer Lopez is. And second of all, she's not trying to entice making you work as, hey, like you paying to actually work for her like JoJo Siwa did. But at the same time, when you work with the worst human beings on this planet possible, constantly, over and over again, and then try to fluff your entire PR for your cons, we see, like, people see through the fluff nowadays. You can't do this whole fluff crap and expect people to buy it. Number one, we're too broke. Number two, you're pretty much dealing with people who've lived through a worse time economically than the Depression. A lot of us really consider where we put our dollar. Hello, I'm even doing research on where I'm spending money to buy clothes. You think that I'm going to go buy, like, I like Katy Perry's music, but not that much. I would pay, and here's the hardest part. I can't think of a single band that I would go pay $70 for right now. That $70 is too much money for me. Now, if there was a $40 show, I'd probably go. But $60, $70, it's too expensive right now. Not going to do it. In my opinion, Jeff Bezos wants to have a pissing contest. That's exactly what it was. No, I said that in one of my other streams. That's exactly what it was. The only problem is Jeff Bezos' pissing contest is made of cotton candy, and Elon Musk's is made of gold. That there's a difference in weight and in value. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to take a man who actually rescued somebody that our last presidency left in space over somebody who wanted to put a bunch of people in a bunch of females, no less, in his penis-shaped rocket and launch it 11 minutes into the air. Isn't that about how long it takes for a guy anyway? I wouldn't know I'm a lesbian, but just curious. Anyway, so just saying, he probably he hit the mark. He hit, and not only that, but for the capsule to come back as pristine, as beautifully clean as it came back. Oh, and for Katy Perry to open it before Jeff Bezos was able to actually open it, and the fact that they could touch it. They touched the outside of this ship after it came out from space, guys, within minutes of it landing, and didn't burn themselves. And not only that, but they all floated in space. Their hair went all crazy. Yet they came out of those capsules looking like they just got their hair done inside. Like, what did they have? Literally, did they have a hair crew inside the capsule? Because Katy Perry's hair came out perfect. It's like she literally stepped straight out of the freaking trailer. So anyway, that's like, it's just, it is. And then, I mean, and then just what has been coming out of her mouth over and over and over again. Honey, you didn't die. You didn't have a spiritual awakening. You didn't do anything but ride a extreme emphasized Superman roller coaster for 11 minutes. That's pretty much all you did. Sorry, but you're not going to get any credit from me. You're not an astronaut. And thank God, the one person that could come out and basically say you're not a freaking astronaut came out and said, you're not a freaking astronaut. I forget who it was, but he actually came out with a formal announcement, Department of Transportation or something like that. I forget, who was it? It was somebody important. It was somebody up there in the government, but literally put out a media announcement stating that Katy Perry does not meet the requirements to be an astronaut. So stop calling her one. And I'm frankly, if I was Katy Perry and she had said that to me, I would have been like, oh, no, I'm not an astronaut. Like, I would have corrected that lineage straight off, because the amount of people you are discounting through almost 100 years of history, like, you're not the first woman in space. I hate to tell you this, but Russia actually put a female dog into space first. So they already beat, I hate to say this, but Russia beat putting a bitch into space first. Anyway, one time I went to a concert and now I'm an expert in hey, I'm a YouTuber on live stream. Evidently, dude, I'm a producer. I am a producer. I can like, I don't know, what does it make me? I'm able to, oh my gosh. Oh God, that just threw so many things in my head. Oh, that one TikTok of that one guy. Look, I'm a medic. I'm a plumber. I'm an electrician. Oh gosh, she's getting roasted so bad, but she kind of deserves, no offense, but if you're going to come out, if you're going to walk, as simple as this, if you're not going to acknowledge the reality of the situation and you're going to put yourself out there to be made fun of, like, trust me, there's so many people who come back to me and they're like, do you know how big of a fool you look like on your YouTube channel? I've listened to your rants. You sound like such a doo-doo. Like, it's such an idiot. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, dude, I've gone back and listened to myself and been like, oh God, okay, that's on there permanently. I've watched my facial expressions going, oh good Lord, really, Kibby? Really? Those are the facial expressions you're using? So, yeah. So but at the same time, when you work for a company like Disney, or you work for a company like, I don't know, or you're trying to be, I'm not trying to sell tickets to millions of people, and I don't have probably a couple thousand people who rely on me bringing in ticket sales in order for me to pay them. I'm just little old me working in my basement. Katy Perry, on the other hand, Rachel Zegler, on the other hand, like, y'all need to learn to start filtering. Like, my mom used to say something to me that I'm going to that I want to say to both Katy Perry and Rachel. You need to let the words bypass, or like go through your brain before they exit your mouth. How did she used to say it to me like this: you need to stop letting the words bypass your brain. And at the time, I didn't understand what she meant because, frankly, I think I was like 10 or 11, and I didn't quite understand how bypass meant. However, that's kind of my advice to Katy Perry and Rachel Zegler and a lot of these people in Hollywood. You need to start letting the words go through your frontal cortex and be filtered before they come out of your mouth. Like, you need to start filtering. Like, you need to start watching what you say, honestly, minding your P's and Q's, especially if you're working for multi-million-dollar companies like Disney. I hate to say it, but yeah, if I got signed on to a big show or a big movie, you guys would see my content change. You guys would hear me curb a lot of what I say. My mouth would, yeah, conspiracies wouldn't be coming out of my mouth anymore. But at the same time, I would understand that I represent a company. I represent somebody else and something else. That's why oftentimes you guys will see when I get an actual full-time job, if their policies don't match up to my beliefs on my channel, I will disappear from my channel. Those of you that have been longtime followers, you've seen it. I know you have. It's just, I understand that if you're going to be in the public eye, you need to understand that there's a certain level of criteria that A, is expected of you, and B, that you need to adhere to in order to be successful in the public eye. I've instructed a lot of clientele that like how to create, you have like multiple circles. You have your public, you have your public private, you have your personal public, and your personal private. There's a multi-layer system to this. And it seems that Rachel Zegler and Katy Perry only have like one or two, or have completely bypassed every filter that was ever put in place for them. And it seems that is what it is. We don't do psychic readings here, Leslie, just so you know. These are writing sprints and rants. If you do want a reading, the information is in the bio down below. You're more than welcome to contact me in one of those ways. But and not only that, but readings are not free. The pricing is down below because psychics have to use a certain level of energy in order to do their work. We do have to be compensated for it, or karma kicks our butt. I have learned this the hard way. So on that note, Blake Lively and Justin Baldone, if you guys haven't heard lately, my prediction on Blake Lively is coming true. It's the more and more, the closer and closer we get to this trial date, the more and more is being revealed, and the more that it's proving me correct. I said that there were PR tricks that were being pulled that are same PR tricks that many people have pulled to try to do exactly what she did. Having a shell company is exactly one of them. Do you know how many famous people have shell companies? I am very happy that that all the puzzle pieces are falling together. There is one more piece before that they can go to court that will be the revelation for Justin Baldone. There's one more thing to be revealed from the checklist they're showing me. Not only finding the connection of the shell company with the PR representation and the lawsuit, but there is another third party that is not being investigated yet that is connected to all of this as well. And that third party is actually what instigated a lot of this. We'll have to see what happens completely, because the person that actually instigated this behind the scenes is a lot bigger than most people think. And it's going there. Like, let's just say if this person gets revealed for showing what they're doing, the whole hierarchy of Hollywood is going to fall apart, because the A-listers are going to figure out that they really aren't in control, and that their success is actually a giant game to a lot of bigger people. And wow, the ability for those type of people to be able to walk away from the higher elites and be successful now and not have to rely on them is so indefinitely strong that once this gets blown out of the water, or once this piece of things gets revealed, we're going to see the complete and utter shift that we've been talking about in Hollywood. So on that note, we're going to jump into our next 20-minute sprint. You make videos too. You're a director. Yep, same here. Same here. And my mom, I sing in a choir. I sing, and my mom sings in a choir. So we're both professional singers. Now, if only we could actually get the money that comes from those jobs. But then again, looking at Katy Perry and a lot of these famous people, did they even have money to begin with? Because yeah, the Democrats are sure now getting investigated for where all their funding came from. And that's going to get interesting too. 3, work. 3, 2, 1. And that is the end of that sprint. And I wish you luck, Grasshopper. 350 words done, and now getting the baby toddler to sleep. And the baby toddler has been woo today. So also, Cora, in doing a little bit of my research, there's something that I put together. There's a correlation again. Remember, I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, last time we talked about Jax going crazy like this, the Schumann resonance was heightened. Guess what is heightened again today and yesterday? So, and it's going to be that way until the rest of the weekend. So, if that is what's affecting him, he's probably at the height of it, and it's probably not going to calm down until Monday. So there's that. I was so enjoying my my music that I actually didn't even mark off where I left off with my list here. So give me a second. It was right there. So we're going to do that. And I have no idea. On top of the, so let's do, hold on. Let me get a number for you. We'll go like this, go like this. So I have 28 done that sprint. So 77 split in 2 is about 30. So I'm reaching my average. I'm still hitting my average roughly. In pictures named, how many pictures I have for episode 10, I have no idea. However, something interesting that I did figure out, number one, I'm noticing that there's somebody that keeps popping in every single time I go into a sprint. I'm wondering if it's that same YouTube channel that jumps into everybody's sprints and tries to copyright claim their music. My words to them, be my guest and go ahead and try. I actually produced it on GarageBand and actually posted it to YouTube. I actually produced it through YouTube. I have a copyright number and everything for it. So good luck with that, because I got smart this time and I figured out how to produce my own music. So bite me. So if that's in case what is happening in that case with that thing, because this is I see Kiki Law because her number comes in. I see Cora because her number comes in, but there's another one that only comes in when I go to sprint. And it's so obvious because the number like soon as I start the sprint, number ticks up. Soon as I end the sprint, number ticks down. It's like I can tell, like StreamYard does let us know like how many people are how many people we have watching. But I also know that this happened at the same time that I was using the other sprint music, and it didn't happen when I muted the timer for the sprint music. So this is just something I've noticed, and go ahead, guys, go ahead and try to copyright claim it. You're not going to work. I actually have everything I need this time to be able to prove that I own the song through YouTube. Love ya. So I cut, and just so y'all know, how did I know to do it? My ex has several albums out on YouTube under the band Sight Unseen. Big musician for many years, lots of albums, dealt with Hollywood. That's one of the reasons why when you guys hear me talk about the industry, I know about the industry. I spent a lot of time dealing with the rock industry and Hollywood. I watched him perform at the Roxy. I watched him perform at the Whiskey. I've dealt with Studio City. I've dealt with LA. I've dealt with all of it. Did I think I needed to copyright claim natural sounds that were available for free? No, but evidently YouTube allows this Mexican company to go ahead and copyright claim nature sounds that are copyright free music. So my go around was to create my own timer music and to publish it literally through YouTube, through iTunes. And I love the fact that GarageBand lets you do that, because it automatically gives you publishing rights, and you have to have an account. There's a way to do it. If anybody needs to know, if any of my friends out there need to know how to do it, let me, you can message me. I'll let you know how to do it. It's real easy and simple to set up. But Cora, we saw, and then hi, Kiki Law. Hello, gorgeous greetings to you too. Girl, wow, Kiki. Oh. First of all, Kiki, if you feel like you've been stabbed in the back, just know it's about to get better. technically you were, but karma's got you back. So it might hurt for a second, but the backlash for them is going to be a heart attack. That doesn't sound very good. But that came in really, really, really strong for me. I don't know if that's correct or not. I could be completely wrong because I'm not often wrong, but just so you know, honey. Anyway, what were we? So I wanted to, Kiki Law, perfect time to jump in, because I was actually about to talk about the Karen Read trial and how I find it very interesting that it's my prediction might be correct. And we're far enough into the trial now that I am going to give my prediction. This is my prediction from day one. I'm not talking about, guys, this is my prediction since since the first trial. This has been since before the trial. This is actually a prediction I shared with Cora, which is why her and I were talking about starting the whole Law Reacts channel, because I told her this prediction prior to everything starting, and she wanted to watch and react to the trial to see if my prediction is correct. Well, since it looks like it might be a while before that happens, I want to give my prediction because we're already into the trial with Karen, several days into the trial. Here's my prediction, guys. Okay, and again, this is just this is not. This is just an opinion. I am not the TikTok psychic. Okay, if they prove me wrong, I will very much say I'm wrong. I have no problem with that. Okay, but this is just something they've been showing me since day one. What they've been showing me happened is this. Karen Read did show up at the house. Karen Read did talk to her husband outside the house. Karen Read left. Did she hit her husband with the car? No. What I see happen is after Karen Read left, his buddies came out because they don't like Karen Read. They got into an argument with him in the front yard about Karen Read. I see his buddy pushing him and him falling backwards and hitting him his head. And then I see his buddies, who are too intoxicated to realize what's going on, that their buddy might have just smacked his head hard enough to, cause damage. They went, get up, man, and went back inside like a couple of drunk bros. Couple hours later, they come out and find him. Then they concoct this entire story because they're all officers and they can't have this on their case. So that is my gut. That has been my gut instinct. That is what they have shown me since day one, is that the officers are actually Proctor. Officer Proctor is actually guilty. He's the one who actually did it. I don't know if it's true. We still need evidence on it. I will change my opinion if more evidence comes out. This was something that my gut instinct was full force on. ACAB. What is that? ACAB. Why do I have a feeling that's like cover CYA? But Kiki Law, I have no idea what that means, but that's what I honestly think is going on. Is there some sort of cover up? And here's another thing that is connected with this is the whole reason that I started looking at this is because actually I was paying attention to the Kohlberger trial, and I will get into how I got tapped into the whole Kohlberger thing. Frankly, it was the whole Kohlberger situation I fell into is because I was living on the East Coast at the time in Virginia, and my parents live here in Spokane, and that whole situation with him driving around just so happens to be close to where they live. So it caught on my radar for that reason. And I actually remember calling my parents and telling them, just be careful, okay? But even from day one on the Kohlberger case, there was something off to me where I feel like the Idaho is trying to cover up for their own police department again. So there's just something off on all of this where we'll have to see what happens. I don't have any evidence. I don't have any proof. This is not anything that I can say and go to court about straight up. But that is that is just a vision. That is what I've kind of seen since day one in regards to the Karen Read and the Kohlberger trial. There's something regarding, I don't know why, but even my angels are coming in now saying there's something in regards to a lot of police departments are corrupt. And it's not just these judges that want to break the laws to keep certain people in certain places. Evidently, it's there. A lot of the judicial system within our country has been, unfortunately, toxified, I guess you want to say. I'm glad that things are being put in place to change things, but those are my predictions, and I just wanted to put them in place on here because number one, today is a very strong day in regards to numbers, and yeah. In regards to the Kohlberger situation, what I think actually happened was I think Kohlberger knew what was going on. Well, I think and again, this is just my opinion. If facts come in to change this, then facts come in to change this. What I think happened was I think the Idaho Police Department, the small town, was actually helping with the maybe the illicit things that are needed for the college students to party. And Kohlberger caught on to what was going on, and he started following people around, and he figured out what was going on. And before he could basically prove that he knew that there was some underground dealings going on involving the police department and college students, he got caught up. He got framed. Basically, I think he got caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was the perfect place and the perfect time for the police department. And they like, I feel like that Kohlberg is being framed just as much as Karen Reed is being framed. I don't. Again, you guys, if facts come out to change what I'm saying, then I am wrong. However, for now, this is what I believe happened, and we'll follow along with the court cases, and I'll let you guys know. I have to check on Emily D. Baker's channel, but she just did her recap for the second day of trial. At least the one thing I can say about the Karen Reed trial is at least I didn't want to listen to it last time, because last time listening to the trial literally drove me nuts. I could not keep track of the defense's argument. They were all over the place. The roadmap was so unclear. I was so frustrated. This time, at least the defense, at least the prosecution and the defense both have a clear roadmap and are explaining things clearly. We'll have to see what happens in regards to those. So on that note, we are going to jump into one more 20-minute sprint. Just because I went a little long on my ramblings on the last two, and we're supposed to do 3 20-minute sprints, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to jump into our last sprint. Excuse my butter peas. So 20 minutes on the clock, and I will see you all in 20 minutes. In 3, 2, 1, and I am in a weird mood. That is the end of that sprint, and it is the end of our stream, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, writers and weirdos. Yes, it is. It is the end of our stream. It has been 2 hours, and I really appreciate everybody who came in and joined us. Kiki Law, Cora, Leslie, even though she wanted a reading, that's okay. But thank you for just popping in and saying hi. I appreciate it. To my replay crew, love you guys. I appreciate it. I see you guys. I see those watch numbers go up and those like counts. So thank you. To everyone else, I will see you on Monday at 5 o'clock per usual. Just a heads up, because it is getting lighter later and we are into summer, I might be moving the streams to more of a 7 o'clock time. It'll depend. We'll see what happens. But my sleep schedule is getting extended. Guys, I attuned to Persephone for a reason. I could sleep, 10, 12 hours during the winter. Now that summer's coming, I can't sleep that well. And I know I'm not going to be able to sleep that well. And I can't get to bed before midnight anyway. So on that note, if you want to raise your glass and join me for our closing cheers, we will end our stream on a happy note. So for all of you, may your angels be strong. May your energies be positive, and may karma be ever in your favor. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.